Man, so Dak Prescott is injured, man, after a season-ending injury. I mean, this injury is one of those ones that, man, could possibly, be career-altering. And just last summer, we saw him, you know, the money was looking funny to him. He said he couldn't feed his family off of a measly $35 million a year when the Cowboys offered him that $170 million extension with $110 million of that guaranteed. $110 million in the NFL. Guaranteed money don't come for everybody because of the exact reason that happened. We saw last Sunday. We saw him go down. That's why the NFL don't do guaranteed money, because injuries are going to happen. Football is the most injury-filled game in all of sports, maybe next to like rugby or whatever. But next to that, it's going to be football, because you're liable to get tackled at any given time and land crazy, and you never know if you're going to get carted off and never return. So, again, this man had offered $170 million, $110 million, which equates to $35 million a year. $110 million is guaranteed. Now, let's look at Dak Prescott. He's putting value on who he is. He's the best quarterback the Cowboys have had probably since Troy Aikman. Now, I know people will say Tony Romo, yada, yada, yada. And Tony Romo was mediocre at best. He had some, but Dak Prescott is the best quarterback the Cowboys have had since Troy Aikman. Let's just be real. He's having the best season of his career, because he trying to show you, hey man, I am what I am. The Cowboys have ran up the score this year because of his play. And it made it even more devastating. I hate the Cowboys.
I could care less about a Cowboy.
Not because necessarily the franchise or whatever. Shout out to them in the 90s. They had the championships against the Bills and all that. But for me, I can't stand their fan base. Because that same fan base, all they talk about is those 3 championships they won back in the 90s when they had all-pro team, pretty much from quarterback on down the defensive end. The other piece is I'm from Texas. I'm from Houston. Like it's really difficult to see any other Texas team thrive when we got a baseball team, we got a basketball team, we got a football team. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a ride with those teams but as a football fan, as just a fan of humanity, it's so heartbreaking to see somebody carted off, and that their future could be heavily impacted. So regardless of who he plays for and what that franchise has done and stands for, seeing that man carted off like that in tears was real difficult. Having said that, Chris, if you were in that man's shoes when those contract offers were coming out, and again, let's put him where he belongs. Is he a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now? There's still a lot of great quarterbacks. You got Jackson, you got Watson, you got Mahomes, you still got Tom Brady, you still got Aaron Rodgers, you still got a lot of good. Like, is he even in that conversation as a top 10? So does he demand the same contract that the ones who are getting it? Does he is he on that same playing field? Because he wants $40 million, just like your boy Mahomes, just like Watson. He wants his $40 million. Is he on their level? Does he deserve that contract?
Absolutely not. But now, when I say absolutely not, I'm saying absolutely not to, is he on their level? Does he deserve that contract? I can't answer that, because you're talking about a black man who's trying to get his bread, and I'm never gonna speak on a black man trying to get his bread. But let me say this, man, and I know this isn't a sports podcast per se, but let me say this, man. Again, I could care less about a Dallas Cowboy, man. I'm a Houston Texan, man. But when Dak Prescott came into the league, this is the story of a black man. Dak Prescott comes into the league. You got Tony Romo, the white quarterback who's leading the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott was drafted in like the 4th or 5th round. So he came in, he wasn't going to make millions of dollars. The white quarterback, Tony Romo, gets hurt. Dak Prescott is thrusted in there, and he overachieves. So he doesn't. So he's overachieving on this contract that is paying him like less than $1 million a year for like the next 4 years, and he's overachieving. Then he coons out at one point. He kneeled for the flag with Jerry, or he didn't kneel. He said he wasn't going to do that. I don't know, something Jerry Jones, look that up. But when it came time for that man to get what he demanded because he outplayed his contract, the owner of the team, Jerry Jones, was like, nah, we don't think you're worth that. We'll pay you this. Mm-hmm. And that's why that man was like, nah, man, I'll hold out and bet on myself. And in doing that, the owner of the team, I don't like to say owner, I'm going to be specific, the owner of the team and Dak Prescott couldn't come to an agreement, so they franchise tagged him. For those who don't know what franchise tag means, it means since we can't reach a deal with you, we're going to give you the average salary of like the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. So this year, even though Dak Prescott is hurt, he's making $30 million guaranteed, man. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me, that's life-changing money. Right. But that man said, no, I want $40 million a year or 38 or whatever he was asking for. Now, I had to just say all that to go back and answer your question. Would I have took the money the first go round? I would say yes. Myself, I would say yes. Because if I'm Dak Prescott and I'm being honest with myself, I'm not as good as the other quarterbacks who are demanding $40 million plus. But as a black man, I don't know what his situation was growing up. I'm going to get this life-changing money first. Like, it may not be exactly what I want, but I'm going to secure my family for generations first. Then I'm going to ball out. And when we come back to the table, after I ran that contract, after I lived out that contract, then I'm going to put the gun to your head and rob you. Where you at? Would you have taken that first contract that was offered to Dak Prescott, which was $100 million guaranteed?
Man, it's tough to say because I think as a black man, as an athlete, mm-hmm. As somebody who knows the work that you put in, and I think it's hard not to put yourself up there with the Deshaun Watsons, the Patrick Mahomes. I think it's difficult because, like, if I'm an athlete, whatever we do, like, and I feel like I'm the best at what I do, or I feel that I'm up there, like, why would I not want to put, some value on it? Because, like we talked about, injuries are a real thing, right? And mm-hmm. you don't know how long your shelf life is going to be as an athlete in any sport, but especially in football. So I understand maximizing that. If you feel like you got some room to negotiate, go ahead and negotiate. But once the offer is on the table and they're kind of meeting you halfway, that's where you may have to be a little more realistic with your expectations for your salary, because regardless, you said it earlier, he was making under $1 million a year starting for the Dallas Cowboys when Tony Romo went out. Now you're getting a life-changing contract. And I'm sorry, $170 million over a span of 5 years is a lot of money, man. $35 million a year is a lot of money. And, I totally get wanting to maximize that and all that. But when you make a statement like, I can't feed my family off of, yes, you can, because you fed your family off a lot less. But, if he had really spun it in the way of, hey, I feel like I'm just as good as these guys, I would have rocked with him a lot more. But for the simple fact that he's, making like he can't feed his family off of that's a little ridiculous. I remember what you were talking about with him kind of cooning a little bit. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way too. But the fact is a fact. He's a good quarterback. And, yes, he deserves to. But I still put him in that second tier of elite quarterbacks. Like, I don't put him up there in that I don't think he's elite. I don't think, he's I think he's right under that super elite caliber. So I think him making 35 was right around market value for a quarterback at his level. As for me, what I have taken, like I said, I would have negotiated, and boom, I'd have said, hey, I want my 38, 39. They come back with 35. It's better than the 30 that they offered me the first time. Cool. We shake hands. We move on.
But you know what, man? Again, Jarvis, you're talking about football. You said it early, man. You talked about the shelf life, man. Hey, man, you might be good for 8 years, and that's if you're blessed, But you got cats who make it to the league and they don't last a year. You get cats who get cut in preseason, and for you to be offered, $110 million or however many guaranteed millions of dollars, and to take this gamble on yourself, because you have to realize, what if I get hurt? I'm taking this gamble, but what if I get hurt? Yeah, he got the $30 million, and I believe when you're the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, because that's a popular team, in the United States, you get all kind of endorsements. So I don't know his situation. Maybe he already had a couple tens of 20s of 30s of millions of dollars, and he was like, hey, man, I can afford to take the risk. But if you look at the injury that he took, it was a gruesome injury. His bone was coming out of his leg or whatever. Now it's a possibility that he could never get that type of offer ever again. Now, let me make something make sense here, Jarvis. We're doing a podcast. We're talking. We could talk. This thing could take off, and we could make hundreds of $millions till we're about 70, 80 years old, man. However long Howard Stern is doing it. Joe Rogan just got I think $100 million, $300 million deal with Spotify. He's 54, almost 60 years old. But when you're talking about athletics, man, you got to get that, man. You got to strike while you hot, man. Everybody ain't LeBron. Everybody's not going to get a lifetime deal with Nike. So I'm not saying you got to take the first deal you see, but that's when you really got to come to the table, and you have to be realistic, man. You have to kind of think about where you are, what type of leverage you really have, and how much have you seen this money, that's being offered to you in your life, man. Not only that, who are you taking care of? Who isn't born that you will be taken care of in the future? Who, it's just a whole bunch of things, man. And again, I don't think he should have just, he maybe he could have negotiated a little more or whatnot, but man, now we'll never know, or will we?
Man, I heard you say leverage. Let's talk about leverage a little bit. What's your definition of leverage?
Oh, okay. Let me freestyle. Leverage. Leverage is when I can walk away from a deal and feel like I got the upper hand. Feel like I'm okay. Feel like I have some power here. Leverage is when I feel like you need me more than I need you. That's my freestyle definition of leverage. Where you at with leverage?
That's a beautiful definition, actually. It's you having the upper hand in the situation. And when you talk about leverage, you said it. You dropped the name earlier, LeBron James. LeBron James has fixed in leverage. LeBron James can walk up to any team in the NBA and say, "Hey, I want this, this, and this, and you can either give me everything I need, or it's going to be your loss because I'm going to make your franchise relevant. Because he is a powerhouse. He's the most recognizable athlete in the world next to that soccer player, I think Ronaldo or whatever his name is. But other than that, he's the most recognizable athlete in the world. So he has leverage. I don't know that Dak Prescott has LeBron James leverage. I don't know that, and I think was the Cowboys' way of letting him know that he doesn't, but not giving him everything that he wants. That means that they're okay with letting him walk. If he's not good with 35, hey man, good luck finding somebody else to pay you 35, or 40. We don't have $40 million for you. So I think with leverage, man, leverage is, and I think to a certain extent he has leverage because yes, he is a fairly top tier quarterback, but again, the Cowboys are looking at like, okay, if we invest all this into just a quarterback, how are we going to have other pieces in place? And is he guaranteeing to get us to the promised land, back to a Super Bowl? And I don't think that they have that supreme confidence in him as to where an NBA franchise knows if they get LeBron James, he's getting you to the conference championship, and more than likely he's getting you to the finals because he's proven that he gets teams to finals because he's been to 10 of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott hasn't gotten you out of the second round.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this, man. Can we take it off of sports for a second, man? I want to ask you this. Do you feel like you have leverage? And I'm not talking about at work. I'm just talking about anywhere in life. Do you feel like you, Jarvis Sam, you have leverage?
Wow. That's a heck of a question. I don't want to undervalue myself, but at the same time, like I remember hearing somebody speak about it was about talking about leadership and entrepreneurship, and it was Bishop T.D. Jakes. And he was talking about how sometimes people want to sit at certain tables with people and they haven't earned that spot. And the reason that these people are at this table is because they put a lot of skin in the game. They suffered a lot. They did a lot. They earned it. And he talked about, to get to that table, like, you got to go kill something. You know what I mean? So you can't just, do something. You got to go kill something. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he said, because everybody else that's at this table, they done killed something. That's why they're at this table. So the first thing that these people are going to ask you is, what you killed? And while I think I'm a fairly decent podcaster, I think I'm pretty good with leadership. I think I have a lot of great things about myself. I think if I, went to certain, if I was, recruited by certain companies in the field that I do, yes, I would have leverage because I have experience and I have proven results in certain areas. But so I think that would be my leverage. But in the realm of like the other stuff that we're trying to do, I got to continue to kill something. I got to kill something. I got to kill the podcasting game if I want to sit next to the Joe Rogans and the Joe Buddens and the other successful podcasters in this realm. So I think we can all, through our work ethic, through continuing to get better, through researching, through studying, and just being a student of the game, I think we can all build leverage. Because if you look at all the people who have been super powerful in whatever, they've worked hard to build leverage. So Kevin Hart can do whatever he wants to do. But Kevin Hart had years where he was in Soul Plane. And then next thing you know, he's in every movie preview that you see before whatever movie you're going to see. He's in every single trailer. in some capacity. So he was working, constantly killing stuff. Not to mention the movies, not to mention his stand-up, not to mention just everything else. So that's why he has leverage. We talked about LeBron James. We talked about somebody like a Kobe Bryant. Like, he had leverage because he had that undeniable work ethic. So he was loyal to a franchise, but he could have went anywhere. I remember all kinds of teams. When that one year he became a free agent, man, I remember he had offer sheets from all 30 teams. And it's like, again, you kill something, you build that respect. Yeah, you're going to have leverage. I'm going to throw the same question to you.
I do think I have leverage. Now, again, in that realm that you're talking about, that realm that I want to be in, absolutely not. I got to kill something. But in the field that I'm currently in, like I'm a special ed teacher, absolutely, because they're always looking for black men. I'm a straight black man. I'm not scary. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I feel like people will feel protected if I'm in the building. So I have leverage in situations like that. I could go to any school and work anywhere. I would get picked up like that. If my job got rid of me tomorrow, I'd probably have a job 10 minutes later. But again, in this realm that we're talking about, podcasting, I don't think that I could email, Title right now and be like, hey, Jay, check this out, man. Me and my guy have this podcast, man. We won 100 million for 10 years, or we're walking. I don't think at this point in time, if we're talking about leverage, I don't even think that email would get read. So at this point, boys got to kill something. Man, you know what? Let me ask you a question, man. Should you set your price and live your life?
Man, absolutely. But there's a little bit to that, because I think, okay, for instance, let's go back to Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. Either way, you got life-changing money on the table. What if you so hell-bent on this $40 million and none of these teams in the league gonna give you $40 million? Are you just not gonna play football? So you setting your price and nobody's willing to pay you what you think you're worth, even if they willing to pay you just a few million less per year. I think you got to kind of, again, make some sense here, because I'll tell you what, $35 million a year is definitely better than $0 million a year, right? So I think at that point you have to be realistic. In the same way, like with, because we talk about Black ownership a lot and Black entrepreneurship and whatnot. And one of the major things is in the Black community is that it's almost like we expect a Black entrepreneur to sell you a product at a discounted rate, or it shouldn't cost as much as somebody else sells it for, right? Mm-hmm. And it shouldn't be that way. But at the same time, you have to kill something. So you may have to enter the game a little bit, and so you might want to study the competition. Say, okay, this person that sells candles, they're huge, whatever. I don't know how the candle industry works, but let's just, for the sake of this argument, it's the top candle people in the world, top candle manufacturers. They charge X, Y, and Z for their candles, and you're starting off with your candle business. Should you really be selling your candles at the same price as them, or should you not say lowball yourself, but a few dollars cheaper or whatever, and build your client base, and then let people dictate the fact that, man, these candles just as good as these other candles. But when we come in and we want to be that top dog right away, sometimes we end up leaving money on the table because we turn people off. For instance, I've always had a dream of opening a coffee shop. we all know that there's this coffee shop that has been around for many, many years that sells $5 cups of coffee that people just love to go to. And I would have to go in. I as much as I would feel that I can make a better cup of coffee than this place, I have to train people first to come to my establishment. And this other company has a lot more leverage and a lot more facilities so that you drive by. In some instances, there's one right across the street from another one. So I'm only going to be able to open one of these, at a time, right? But I got to make sure that, one, I'm killing it, right? I got to make sure that I'm making a better cup of coffee than them, that I'm giving the best service in the world to the customers, and really just creating an experience that those other people can't offer. Because, again, it's only one of me, and it's 5 of them before you get to the house, right? And then also there's this prestige that comes with having a cup of their coffee in your hand versus having a cup of Jarvis's coffee, right? I'm just going to have it in a little regular cup. You're going to have this nice green cup that's going to look all fancy, look like you spent some money on your coffee, right? So it's going to have that prestige factor. So I can't just set my price and live my life until I go out there and prove that, hey, my coffee is just as good. My coffee is the service at my coffee shop is just as good. And I've got a clientele that's coming for me, right? And I'm not just the afterthought coffee place. I'm not just the one that, I just drop in the Jarvis's real quick. Nah, I have to prove now, am I going to sell a cup of coffee for $1? Absolutely not. But I can't sell it for $5. So maybe I'm going to, hey, over here, it's going to be $3.50, and then as things start taking off, I can up that. I can up it a little more. And then we going to get ourselves back in the game. So, you got to understand, and to any entrepreneur or small business owner or whatever that's listening, I'm not discouraging setting your price, living your life. I'm just saying, know that if you set your price and it's up there to a point that it doesn't seem like it makes sense, just know that you're going to end up leaving money on the table on the other side of that. And that, there is something to being a little more reasonable up front, to again, building some loyalty and not being so off-putting to the potential customers. What about you, Chris? How you feel?
Yeah, you know what, man? I think there's some type of balance that has to be had, man. I'm going to give you 2 examples where I'm for it, setting your price, living your life, and where I'm not. Check this out, man. Back when CDs, when you get in your car and you put a CD in your car, you listen to a CD player. I would walk through the mall, man. A random guy will walk up to me, rapper, try to sell me his CD. I want to support. Okay, how much is your CD? It's $10. Wait a minute. You're coming and you want me to give you the same amount of money that I would pay for a Lil Wayne CD, a Jay CD, a Kanye, a Nas CD, and I've never heard you a day in my life? Nah, fam, if you want some of this bread, you're going to have to come down on that price, man. You can't set your price and live your life, in that aspect, I don't think. But then again, check this out. I wrote a book, Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror, available on Amazon right now, man. I'm selling it for $10. It took me like 8+ years to write that book. I'm not selling it no low. It's already $10. I don't care what books you can find at Barnes and Nobles from established people who are $10. It took me 8 years plus to write this book, and if you only got $3, you are not my customer. So it's a balance, man, when it comes to setting your price and living your life, man. Maybe you don't want to, maybe it's not best for you to sell your merchandise or your product for the same amount that whoever Kevin Hart sells his. But then again, how much time and effort and research and, et cetera, have you put into what you're doing, man? So it's about finding that balance, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I feel you on the CD thing, man. I mean, I can't remember. I've had cats come up to me and say it's 20. Like,
You ain't
I'm
getting 20
like
from me.
$20, man. Like,
Mm-mm.
nah. At the same time, you respect the hustle, and you don't know, um, you don't know like what that person has done. Like you said, it took you 8 years to write this book, so you don't want to sell it for any less than what it's worth. That because of all the skin in the game you've put in, right? Maybe this guy selling these CDs has been working on these songs for some years and finally got it together. But at the same time, that balance piece, you can't come up to me randomly while I'm on my way to go buy a Lil Wayne CD for $10.99, and you tell me I'm supposed to pay $1 less for yours. And I know Lil Wayne got 3 songs on 97.9 right now.
Yeah.
It don't make sense. I haven't even heard. I don't even know if I'm gonna like your music. And chances are I'm probably not. I'm just
True
supporting
story.
you, but I'm just not knocking your hustle. But yeah, I mean, it's a funny game because again, we don't want to send the message that, hey, we're lowballing ourselves, or we're setting ourselves up, to have discounted merchandise or whatnot. But at the same time, like you got to kill something first, right? So
Yeah.
you kill something, you make a name for yourself. At that point, you can do whatever you want. You can sell it for whatever cost you think is reasonable. I thought about something you said too, and I was thinking, like, sometimes people pour a lot of sometimes people make something, right? Maybe they make candles, for instance, and they make it with all organic materials and this, that, and the third, and that's why they got to sell it for a certain. Okay, tell people that. Don't just
Yeah.
explain what all you're getting. Explain what goes into it, because that can change somebody's opinion as to whether I should make this investment or not. But if I see, oh, this is handcrafted, and you put a lot of thought into it, and it's environmentally responsible and all that, that kind of stuff can make people, it's a selling point. But if you just, hey, these candles $35,
Yeah.
you might get overlooked or whatever, because you can go to Bath and Body Works and hit that sale.
Yeah, and you know what, man? You said something interesting, man, and I think that presentation is important, right? So if I'm going to Sound Waves, or wherever I buy CDs at the time, Best Buy, wherever, to get a Circuit City to get a CD, and I know that when I buy this Nas CD, I'm gonna have to rip open this package. I'm gonna have to look at the booklet inside to see who produced beats,
Yeah.
the credits and all that. And that cost me $11.99, $12.99, whatever. And you're handing me a CD that, you just bought a bunch of blank CDs, found a
And
magic
wrote it on a
marker,
Sharpie.
and you wrote your name on it. That's not, I'll never forget, man. I went to this poetry, whatever situation one day, and I really liked the poet, man. And he was selling the CDs. I didn't have cash at the moment. This was before Cash App and all that. I didn't have cash at the time to purchase his CD. So I said, hey, man, give me your number. Tomorrow I'm going to meet up with you, get this CD. He said it's going to be $10. I said, bet, $10. I met up with this guy. First off, I had to drive out to him. And he handed me a CD that he went to, I don't know, Walgreens and bought a pack of CDs and put it in a CD case and wrote his. And I'm like, I will never again will I spend $10 or spend the same amount of money that I would for a big name or an established name if your presentation is not together. Because I take it as you don't respect yourself enough to put some money into your presentation. And you know what, man? I have a question. I heard you say something, man. You said it. I may not want to pay the 20. And I don't want you to feel like I'm knocking your hustle or anything. But let me ask you a question. if you present me your product and I don't want to spend what you're asking for on your product, am I knocking your hustle?
Mm. Mm.
So you
Mm.
have this class. No,
Mm.
no, no. I'm gonna bring it home. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know me. You have this class that you're selling on your website, this leadership class that you have on jarvissam.com. You're trying to sell me this class. You done put time into that, and you done went in the studio or however you recorded it. You had to pay money for studio time. This class is $20. Well, you know what, Jarvis? I don't know you like that, and I don't want to spend $20 on your CD or on your leadership class. I would love to support you, but I'm not spending $20 on it. Am I knocking your hustle?
Nah, I mean, if you don't feel that the leadership course is worth $20, cool. You still want to support me? Guess what? You can cash app JSAM Leadership, and you can support with any amount you like. And God bless you.
Okay. So you wouldn't be willing to, hey man, all right, man, well, check it out, man. I'll give it to you for 10. You ain't moving like that?
No, my class
Okay.
costs what it costs.
Okay. Set your price, live your life. Man, check this out, man. On
But I
last
also think my
episode.
price is reasonable. My price is reasonable. I've seen what other courses charge. I didn't go on the high end. I also didn't lowball myself. Hey.
And you know what? It's funny how things go full circle, man. Just to kind of, again, this isn't per se a sports podcast, but to tie it back into this whole Dak Prescott thing, that what you just said, I looked at how much, other leadership classes cost, and I kind of found where I fit in. That's understanding where you belong in the marketplace, man. That's all that is, man. When I know that Michelle Obama's book is going to cost you $30. She was the first lady, the president, and all that. You're going to spend $30 on that book. So I know that right now, maybe it's not best for me to sell you my book for 30, but but I ain't coming below this 10 though. Either 10 will get you in. Anything, man, like that boy Jay say, man, if you owe me $10, you ain't giving me 9, man. Keep that 9, man.
So a few weeks ago, man, I had Vincent on, and we were talking about his plays and whatnot. And one of the things we talked about was kind of setting your price, living your life, right? And one of the things we talked about was the same person that won't spend $20 on you probably ain't interested in spending 15 or 10. So the price difference doesn't always make a difference. It's in the, am I willing to support you? You know what I'm saying? Am I willing to do this? Because people don't think twice about giving Nike their money when the new Jordans drop, right? Or the new LeBrons or whatever shoes are hot. Like, people don't think twice about that. But when it comes to defeating the struggle, journal entries of a conqueror, and you're asking for $10, I don't really read books. Oh, I don't have an Amazon account. Like, you're gonna get every excuse in the book. You're gonna get every excuse under the sun, right? Why they're not gonna give you $10. So again, we've done events that we didn't even charge for, and who showed up, and who didn't. And it was free, and we gave away stuff. Like, so
that's wild. That's wild.
So you know what I'm saying? So to some degree, that's why you do that. Again, you study the market, you see where you fit in, and you charge where you fit in. And those that are going to support you are going to find that what you're charging is reasonable, or they're going to find that what you're charging is worth what you're giving. And it goes back to feeding your base. You have to determine who your base is and feed them. If $20 is out of somebody's price range for my course that I've been working on since 2012, I'm sorry, it's not for you. You're not my customer. I I'm not going to sell it to you for $2. You know,
Yeah.
I can't sell you. I think I did the class. I think I created the course in 2017 or 2018. So yeah, it was 2018 when it dropped. I'm not going to give you 6 years of my life for $2.
Now I'm gonna take you further. That you're not giving them 6 years of your life. It took you all your life to write that, fam, or to put that together. Because we're talking about experiences that happened before you started. You know, you had to gain experience to get you there, fam. So this ain't it ain't take you 6 years. I mean, think about let me just make it make more sense, man. Think about Jay-Z's first album. Think about Nas' first album, right? It may have took them maybe 2 years or 1 year for them to write that, but it took them all their lives from that standpoint to draw from those experiences. Yeah, fam. If you don't have $10 from me, dog, I'm cool. Like, I'll be all right. It's not for you. It's okay for it to not be for you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I have people who, you know, it's people you expect to purchase from you, and they don't. It's fine. It's not for them. Set your price, live your life. Like you said, boy's going to give you all the excuses in the book.
I ain't got no Amazon account as well.
Who don't have an Amazon, dog?
But at the same token, like, you can't go to Walmart and be like, hey, this Michelle Obama book, I don't have 30, but can I give y'all 15 for it?
Yeah.
Walmart about to call their AP department to escort you the hell up out of there.
Absolutely.
So why should we be any different? And the problem, and the bigger thing is, these other companies got hella money. And when you think about all the not only just skin in the game that you put in the game to do what you do, but the money you invest up front, like it takes investing to do whatever you do. And if you want quality sound on whatever you're doing, you got to get a microphone. You want quality of audio, video, you've got to have quality equipment. You got to have lighting. You got to have all the stuff that makes it happen. So that's kind of why people set their price and live their life, because, hey, when I had to buy this equipment, I didn't get no discounts from Amazon. I didn't get no discounts from these places. I bought this stuff to make a quality product for you to purchase. So but again, people that aren't creators of their own and in their own right, they don't understand that.
Absolutely.
And that's where the big disconnect is, because I heard you say earlier, man, you went to the poetry joint and you respected this guy's hustle that you met up with him the next day to go grab the CD, even though he wrote on it with the Sharpie. You still went and grabbed it, right? And it's because you respect a creator.
Yeah.
You respect a content creator. Now, also, you're a creator yourself. You've been creating content for many years. So you understand what it feels like not to be supported. You understand what it feels like not to get the likes or the views that you feel like your video should have gotten, or the sales that your book should have gotten. Like, you understand all of that. So you're a lot more quick to go, hey, let me go support this because I know how it feels. I think people, when you have that emotional connection, because you can tie it back to an emotion that happened to you, it's a lot easier. But again, the average Joe that just goes to work 9 to 5 and, you know, wants to buy Jordans and X, Y, and Z, they're not creating. They're just watching TV and consuming content. They don't understand what goes into creating it.
Yeah, man. It takes a lot to build a factory. And what I mean by that, I may not be talking about a brick and mortar factory. I'm sure it takes a lot to do that. I've never built one. But to build a factory to where you're creating content all day or every week, it takes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just something like what we're doing right now, man. We don't just hop on the mic and just be like, hey man, ready to go, let's freestyle.
It's a
Nah,
week-long
fam.
process every week.
Yeah, I gotta hit you. Like, hey, have you been inspired yet? You gotta hit me. Have you been inspired yet? No, give it another day. If somebody comes with something, okay, here are some notes. Let's kind of figure it out from here. It and that's in my mind, I look at myself as a content factory. Okay, just like Nike factory has a place where it produces shoes and shirts and Jordans, LeBrons, Matt, whatever they sell. That's how I view myself when it comes to content, and that is not the easiest thing to do, bro. Like writer's block is real.
Is real.
Not being inspired is real.
It's real.
When you're trying to do something weekly, you know, and your day to drop is like tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the average person doesn't understand that.
And then, I mean, not even just leading up to it. Think about everything we have to do afterwards. Editing content, trimming the clips. Does this make sense? Oh, we should take this piece out. Oh, this piece looks good. Let's put this on. Like and trying to, and then we're sitting here for an hour creating content, right? But then afterwards, we've got to go and listen to that whole hour again. Listen to ourselves talk and
multiple times.
And figure out what was the most fire part of that hour to release to the public that makes sense, that'll draw people. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's really difficult. And then you've got to go through all the editing software. Then you've got to come up with titles. Then you've got to come up with artwork. You got to come up with it's literally a week-long process on both ends just for one hour show. But people think you just put your headset on and just start talking, and then nah, it's so much into it. And we're critical of ourselves. We're always trying to get better. Hey, I don't like the way the sound was last week. Hey, I think it was better when I was over here. Oh, I think this worked a little better. Oh, I think the camera should have been facing this way. Oh, I think the lighting, like we're critics like that because we want to get better. And again, not only being a creator, but challenging yourself to get better each and every single week, to deliver better content, to be better at what you do, to effectively go kill something. We're trying to kill something here. So,
yes.
And again, only creators can think about this. Only creators think like this.
Yeah, and then you took it easy on them. You left out the most important parts. I gotta find time to edit this and all this because still gotta be a husband. Gotta find time to edit this because if my daughter's awake, I gotta be daddy. She don't care about me editing a video. She could care less about that.
So I normally drop my clip of the week from the show Sundays between 12 and 5. I didn't drop my clip of the week till Monday last week, and that irked me because I'm not that. I like to have cadences of how I do things every single week. But hey, my son, even though he's going to eat off of every single cent I make off of this podcast, don't give a damn about when I need to drop a clip. Even though he going to eat off of this. That don't mean shit to him. Right at this point. And those are the sacrifices you have to make, and those are the things that people don't see. Those are the things people think that, oh man, they know what man, this stuff is hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
This stuff is real hard, man.
And that's why it just circles back. Man, you want me to sell you my book for $5 and I had to write this when my daughter was asleep because if she was up, she would have wanted to be held by her daddy? Man, please, man. Now, when I wrote my book, my daughter wasn't born. I added that for dramatic effect. But I mean, these are things that people go through, man.
I'm the hottest podcaster out right now with a newborn.
Yeah,
I'm putting that out there right now. I'm the hottest podcaster out, and I got a newborn.
Oh man, that's some good stuff, man.
And hey, man, he don't give a damn how good or how bad I am. And here's the other piece of that. When I'm editing, when he's sleeping, I'm trying to edit. I'm cutting into my own sleep, my own possible sanity.
Absolutely.
Because every minute I'm podding, I could be sleeping, or I could be holding my son or feeding my son or doing something like that. So man, to people who don't create, one, I inspire you to create because I think everybody has a creator within them. Two, appreciate the creators that you're listening to, because a lot of work goes into that. We only release one show a week. You got podcasters that do 3 and 4. God bless them. But I can tell you a lot goes into creating just a 1-hour podcast. So people that are doing things that are positive, man, support them, man. Don't look at if I'm telling you right now, y'all need to run to my co-host's website right now and go grab that book. It's only $10. It's only $10. I have my classes right now on my website, jarvissam.com. I have it conveniently. You can just buy one little piece of it. So my class is broken up into segments. It's called Strong Leadership. So we break down the word strong into segments. Each acronym has its own segment. So each segment on my website is only $2.99. $2.99. And my son gets every bit of that $2.99. Okay. So if you just want to support, we talked about support earlier. If you just want to support, hey, just buy the servant part, $2.99. Hey, just buy trustworthiness. That's only $2.99. Just buy growth. That's only $2.99. And it supports a great cause. It supports the son that didn't allow me to edit my video until Monday and get it out. But it supports him, right? But support your creators, man. Support creators, not just us. It's a lot of great content creators out there right now. But understand that we both have real jobs that we have to go to every single day. And hey, it's not every week that we feel like getting on here.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, it's not every week. We'd rather be doing something else, but we're producing this content. Tuck, do you have anything else on the Set Your Price, Live Your Life?
Hey man, I just want to say, like you said, man, to the people, support your creators, and to my creators, set your price and live your life, man. Whatever you charge is what you charge, man. Real quick story before we get up out of here, man. I saw a dude in my neighborhood doing mobile car washes. You know, his number was on his truck. I took a picture of it. I called him. I wanted to get my truck washed. Now, the truck he was washing was a 4-door or a 4-passenger truck, you know, so it had 4 seats in it. When I asked him how much it would cost to wash a truck that was that size, he said $150. I said, bet. I called him a few weeks later. I sent him a picture of my truck. My truck has 2 seats. I said, hey, man, how much would it cost to wash this here truck? He said $150. And because he was a black man, I didn't want to go back and forth with him. But I thought about it. I said, man, wait a minute. It would be a little less work because he's not washing 2 extra seats. I said, okay. I just replied back, okay. And he, you know what he hit me back with? Hey, man, get at me when you're ready. And he went on about his business, man. That man set his price and lived his life on me. And I got to respect it.
That's great. Man, before we get up out of here, man, you went on an epic rant. Well, it was about to be an epic rant. I think it was last week when you were talking about the whole so originally my podcast was exclusively ran off of my site through SoundCloud, but it was exclusively on my site. It was to drive traffic to my site, the site that I bought with my money, right? I invested it, right? I paid for that site. And, you know, on some ends, I get where accessibility could become an issue, even though you could pull it up on the site, play it, and go on about your day. But I get it. I totally get that it wasn't as accessible and whatnot. So there were some things about it that I say, eventually I do want to get on other platforms, and it also gives me accessibility to a wider audience. But it's crazy that we've been doing this podcast since July 5th. July 5th was the first time we dropped an actual podcast. And just a couple weeks ago, we officially got on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Play.
Spotify, yeah.
We're on Spotify. And so, of course, I made that announcement and whatnot. And it blew up like crazy on social media, right? People were sharing it. People were excited and congratulating me and whatnot. And again, it kind of went back. And first of all, I appreciate every listener. I don't care how you found this. I don't care what, I appreciate, I don't want this to come off as ungrateful or anything like that. But I think it ties in perfectly with our conversation today. And it's crazy because, again, my website was my platform. I put that together. I not only paid for it, I built it myself.
That's a
I
fact.
designed it myself. I did everything myself. And I figured out how to incorporate a podcast on my website myself. I figured out all this thing for myself that I did for myself. But people didn't see that. People don't understand how that all worked. But boom, when I make this Apple announcement, man, the people were excited. And the reason I was excited about the Apple launch is because, again, it makes me more accessible. It can get me in front of different audiences, right? My listens went up, have tripled since we've gotten on all the other platforms. So it's great. But I just kind of I think our people are kind of misinformed with kind of what's truly valuable, right? Because here's the thing about Apple and Spotify and all these other ones. We can say the wrong thing and they can dismiss us. I used to listen to a podcast a while back, and this guy ended up getting kicked off of all his host site or whatever because he had some sort of disagreement or beef with another large podcaster that was on that same platform. They complained to the company. The other guy was doing a little better, so they didn't want to lose him. So they kicked the other guy off the platform. And guess what? He had to do what I did. He had to create a website and run the podcast off his site because he got kicked off the large format Apple Music and whoever he was distributing through because of this other heavyweight. So stuff like that can happen. But nobody can kick you off of yours. Nobody can ban you from yours.
Yeah.
And that's that. And so I just want everybody to realize that there's value in owning your own, right? Again, there's nothing wrong with leveraging all the other resources that's out there. I think you had told me a while back that boy Ryan Leslie, he moves all of his stuff directly off of his website, right?
Mm-hmm.
and so I think it's taken me this is not I'm not going to sit here and act like I've been super woke since. No, I've had to learn things. I've had to learn about owning your own. I've had to learn about the value in certain things and being independent. I've had to learn these things because, hey, 5 years ago, I probably would have been gassed about some Apple, whatnot. But as I've just seen so much happen and continue to read and study and enlighten myself and inform myself on what's truly valuable, my mindset has just changed. And I tell you what, I totally valued my podcast being on my website, my website being the hub for all of my content. Because again, it's my baby. I bought it. I designed it. I did everything around it. And now I'm creating content to go on it. So to me, that was really the bigger accomplishment. But to the general public, the bigger accomplishment was signing to Apple,
Yeah.
because I think that's the perception that like I signed to Apple, so I'm, doing my Apple thing or whatever. But man, get the people that stuff you was talking last week, man.
I mean, hey man, you pretty much just summarized it, man. But it was that's frustrating for me, man. That's frustrating for me because the same exact audio that's on your site is the same exact audio that's on Spotify or on iTunes or Google or wherever. It's not like when Google gets your audio, they clean it up and they press it up and they present it. No. The same audio you upload to your site goes to these places. And just, it's just this idea that the white man's ice is colder. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much all it is, man. You done built your site. You've created a factory. We both have factories. We have these factories, but my fire blogs, you would probably respect it more if I sent my same writings to like, I don't know, thesource.com or XX or what, wherever, peoplemagazine.com or whatever people read, man.
Said People Magazine.
Because the perception of people is, nah, that little old thing that you doing, that you're building, that doesn't matter. When it gets over here to this established white brand or to this established white-owned brand, then I'll take it seriously. And for me, that's frustrating, man. Not only is it frustrating, it's disgusting. Because, I mean, we have to value our people more. I'm more hype when Tyler Perry puts out a movie that he built, that he wrote, that he filmed on his own lot. He recorded with his own cameras. I'm more hype about those than I am when Michael Bay puts out a movie, a new Transformers movie or something like that, because I can relate and connect directly to that black man and understand that he had to go through a whole lot more obstacles to produce whatever he's giving us than some white man that's been established for years, or this white man who's had a leg up for years or a handout for years. So for me, when I see things like that, it's just cringe. It's cringe worthy, but this is what we're up against. And all we could do is fight through what we're up against, man. That's it. That's it. That's all I got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Hey, man, tell people where they can find you.
Hey, man. If y'all don't know by now, because I've been pumping it through this whole episode, man. BreadTuckLegacy.com. BreadTuckLegacy.com. You can find my blogs there. You can find my book there. And it's just my factory where I'm able to go create and produce. This is my factory. BreadTuckLegacy.com.
Absolutely, man. JarvisSam.com for me. Home, the primary home for this podcast, the primary home for my blogs, and the home for my my leadership course. So whatever you need from me is right there. You can find me on Instagram as well, JarvisSam_ on Instagram. I post a lot of good stuff on there. You get clips of this, the visual clips of this show every week. So as always, thanks for joining us wherever you're joining us from, whether you're on Apple, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on Google, whether you're on my website. That means you really rock with me if you're on the website. I appreciate you. Thanks for listening, and we will catch y'all again next week.
Yeah, man. H-Town all day.
Go Astros.